right, my name is Daronta Briggs. Been dealing with kidney disease since 2008. Actually, since 2006. My mother, she had kidney disease, and she was doing home dialysis. So at that particular time, I did not know that seeing her on home dialysis was preparing me for my journey of kidney disease in 2008. With my prior career, I was a correctional lieutenant. I went in for a routine physical back in 2008, early 2008. And my doctor, she advised me, primary care physician, she advised me that, Mr. Briggs, it looked like you had some kidney disease going on. And my numbers was high, and she said, well, it's possible you may have to end up starting dialysis. At that particular time, dialysis, I didn't know what I actually was going through. I saw what my mom went through. So I was thinking it may be a little different. After doing more blood work, and she said, well, we're gonna send you to a vascular surgeon. And where basically I got put in an AV fistula that was placed in my left wrist. And she advised me, my doctor advised me, she said, well, Mr. Briggs, you no longer can work because you're gonna have to start dialysis immediately. It was like a shock. My life, it took a turn where I didn't understand what I was going through. And I really felt like that the uncertainty of my future, being a father with 4 daughters, and I had to explain to them, exactly what I was dealing with. Then I had to call my human resource officer at the institution I was working at and advise her that my primary care physician just advised me that I no longer can work. With the time that I had with the Department of Corrections and the 4 years of military time that I purchased, it gave me enough time where I was able to retire. Even though I was able to retire, it was difficult. Being able to get up every morning, go to work, and just doing my job, doing what I love to do. But I just felt like I hit a brick wall, not understanding from my perspective what I was dealing with. It became very emotional, very emotional. I looked at it, I didn't know how long I had to live. Just all these different thoughts, that ran through my mind. I started dialysis in June of 2008 at Hampton Veterans VA Hospital. I'm a veteran from the first Gulf War of 91. Being on dialysis at the VA hospital in Hampton, it was basically the first few times I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. But then as time went on, and they basically educated me on the fact, okay, well, hey, this is what you're dealing with. They taught me a lot of things as far as being able to take care of myself while I was on dialysis and how to maintain my AV fistula, not to bump it, not to cause any type of injury to it, to cause the blood flow to decrease. So I was able to learn how to deal with dialysis. But, as time went on, I learned that, okay, hey, this is not so bad. It's not so bad. But then when I learned that, hey, you're a good candidate for a kidney transplant. So, it brightened things up for me. I went to Pittsburgh Veteran Hospital to do the workup for the kidney transplant. And after completing the workup, I met with the surgeon, and he said, well, Mr. Briggs, it's gonna take about 6 years before you get a kidney transplant. And I was like, well, 6 years? And I asked him, I said, well, why 6 years? I had a rare blood type. So he said, it's kind of hard. It's gonna take time. After coming back from Pittsburgh Hospital, Veteran Hospital, I decided I want to make a change. I wanted to move from Hampton, Virginia, since my mother passed in 2006. So I decided, pull out a map. I said, okay, let me find a VA hospital that has a renal clinic. I went out to New Mexico, a visit. I said, no, too hot. Then I went up to upstate New York, no, too cold. So then I looked at Baltimore, but Baltimore, they did not have a renal clinic at the hospital. They out-resourced everything. Then I looked at Washington, D.C. I said, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go to Washington, D.C. because they had an in-house unit where they basically dealt with a lot of veterans with end-stage renal disease. They had a horseshoe unit set up. And I toured the unit. I said, okay, I'm gonna like this. I did transfer to Washington, D.C. Veteran Hospital in 2010. When I started my dialysis treatment there, I was advised that I was a good candidate for the kidney transplant at Walter Reed at Navy Medical Hospital in Washington, not Washington, D.C., but in Bethesda, Maryland. So I did my work up there, and the surgeon said, well, Mr. Briggs, okay, you can probably have a kidney within 2 years. Now, this was in 2010, the end of 2010. Actually, it took about a year and a half, and they called me and told me that, hey, we have a kidney for you. October 22nd of 2012. I just got off dialysis, and I had an appointment with the vascular doctor. So I'm sitting in there with her. My cell phone, it was ringing, but I didn't want to disrespect the doctor and take the call. I waited until after I got out of the appointment, and the phone rang again, and I answered it, and a voice was on the phone, said, hey, is this Daronta Briggs? I said, yes. He said, well, this is Sergeant Walker from Walter Reed. We have a kidney for you. Do you want the kidney? I'm like, what? Do I want the kidney? Oh, yes, I want the kidney. So he gave me some little detail that, the donor, she was 23 years old, service member from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And they asked me, said, well, how quick can you get to the hospital? I said, hey, I can be there within 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, I was at Walter Reed in Bethesda, getting prepped. And I was nervous, blood pressure was high, but that was an exciting moment for me. I'm like, okay, man, good to have the second chance at life and be able to start doing some things that I used to do that I can start doing again. That morning of October the 23rd, I woke up from surgery. Hey, it was a new beginning of life, second chance at life. I can recall I was sitting in the recovery room, and I sat up outside the bed. I was like, wait, Mr. Briggs, where you going? I said, hey, I'm ready to get up. I'm ready to get up and start moving. So he said, no, you just can't move just yet. So that was the beginning of my, second chance at life, and I wanted to make a difference. During that period of time when I was on dialysis, I observed a lot of veterans that were depressed. That's one of the things being on dialysis, whether you're at home dialysis, in center, you kind of get depressed. So with me, I was the kind of person where I wanted to interact with people, try to motivate them and get them to understand exactly, the things that we're dealing with, to try to educate them on the importance of taking care of themselves, and also being able to understand the transplant process. So basically, while I was on dialysis, I sat up there. I always had my computer set up there with type. I worked on a book while I was on dialysis. And, basically, I shared all the information with those patients, those veterans. So one thing I told myself after I got that transplant, that I wanted to make a difference in all those veteran lives. I want to do something for them that wasn't done for me. And that's why I created a nonprofit, Veterans Transplantation Association. So, with this nonprofit, it's my way of educating and giving back to those veterans that need that motivation to push them into wanting to have a transplant, to enjoy a second chance at life. that was my goal. And basically, hey, that's what I've been doing ever since I received the kidney transplant, advocating for many different nonprofit organizations, being able to just make a difference, not only veterans, but make a difference in, the civilian lives as well, being a part of the community process of educating everyone that needs to know about kidney disease, because a lot of people don't know about kidney disease. They don't know that they're actually walking around with hypertension, diabetes, with these issues right here that can cause, kidney failure and basically kidney disease. So, education is so important because like I said, people just don't know. I didn't know. So I'm like, okay, well, hey, let me reverse this and help those individuals that need to know.